From Couch Tour to Twitter, or is it X? The fan base at home is ablaze about this set. Good, bad, and people who are in the middle. But we're going to actually talk to people who were at the show to see what they thought. By the way, Dan Hurley has twice as many championships as former Syracuse basketball coach Jim Boeheim. Just want to remind you guys in Syracuse, we're better. The DMB Post Show stream starts now.
I'm working on this new tune. This is dark one. I like it. I'm gonna give it just a little taste. On earth, but we gotta kill the monster first. Oh, I wanna find peace on earth, but we gotta kill the monster first. Everybody wants peace on earth, everybody wants peace on earth, but we gotta kill the monster. The monster. Monster, bone-tired harvest time, beat up pickup truck. The monster is a farmhand, trying to make a buck. I know you want peace on earth, but we gotta kill the monster first. Yeah. The monster drives a taxi, it's a car pulled by a mule. The monster hears the warplanes, got a pebble in his shoe. The monster's in the market, he's trying to find some bread. The monster's underneath the rubble, he's crying for the dead. I know you want peace on earth, but we gotta kill the monster first. Yeah, I wanna find peace on earth, but we gotta kill the monster first. Everybody wants peace on earth, everybody wants peace on earth, but what about the monster? Yeah, the monster finds a flower while she's playing in the dirt. The monster smiles cause it looks just like the flowers on her skirt. The monster hears a drum, makes a dream about the bird, songbird. The monster used to go to school, the monster used to be a little girl. I know you want peace on earth, but we gotta kill the monster first. Oh, everybody want peace on earth, but we gotta kill the monster first. Everybody wants peace on earth, everybody wants peace on earth. What about the monsters? The monster is a doctor, the monster is a nurse. The monster is the gambling man just trying to break the curse. The monster is a baby, baby don't be fooled. The monster is your teacher trying to teach you the golden rule. I know we want peace on earth, but we gotta kill the monster first. Everybody wants peace on earth, everybody wants peace on earth, but what about the monsters? Oh, everybody wants peace on earth, everybody wants peace on earth, but what about the monsters? Everybody wants peace on earth, everybody wants peace on earth, but what about the monsters?
It's your boy Concert Viz 34 back at home.
What up, what up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34.
Yep, so your boy Concert Viz 34 coming to you here.
What up, what up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34. Aria. Okay, so this is Aria, and just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your love for the Dave Matthews Band.
I've been a fan of the band since April 28, 1998. And if you recognize the date, that's when Before These Crowded Streets was released.
Alpine is definitely a better venue than Summerfest, but we'll take it. I think I've been going to shows for about 20-something years.
I always tell people, like, compare DMB to now to when I first started. And I got started, in my opinion, I feel like I got started late. Like, I was at the very end of the band's prime. I feel like that 03 to 06 was like the end of the prime. 07, 08 was like, you know, we're at the very end. And then when Roy passed.
But Dave really, this is the thing. Dave has put, Rashawn has been assigned the quarterback of this team. He is the coach, the play caller. He designs the jams. Dave just shows up and plays whatever he's going to play. Syracuse, what up? Rochester, what up? Shout out Utica. Shout out to the Utica Pie. Buffalo, what up? Hey, I heard that stadium's behind schedule. Hurry up. Ithaca, what up? Oswego, what up? Shout out Elmira. Watertown, what up? Plattsburgh up top, what up? Shout out to the Erie Canal. Niagara Falls, what up? Seneca, what up? Cortland, what up? Eastern Ohio, y'all close enough. What up, what up? It's your boy ConcertViz34, and I am here to talk some Dave Matthews Band. I think right now, everybody needs to take a deep breath as far as the fans who are panicking about setlists. There are fans who love deep cuts who look at the encore tonight and say, what in the world was that? Shake Me Closer, Old Dirt Hill in the middle, Peace on Earth at the beginning. Some people just aren't rocking with that kind of song or whatever it's called. It doesn't, to my knowledge, have a name yet. The DMB social media team just kind of copied Gorge Crew, from what I know. I've been told that it's, so we'll see what if something comes of it, or if the set list, when the set list comes out, if it has anything or it says solo. People were upset about Boston Calling, and even tonight, just, you know, hoping there was going to be some sort of liberation. Here's the reality, and we'll look at this after we have our interview. Last year, the reason why last year was so fire to kind of start off and then it continued into what it was because the band played in Europe. And playing in Europe at the beginning of that European tour, it was kind of just, they were having shows like this, figuring out what they were going to do. And as they built momentum in Europe, they started really doing crazy things until like they played all these unique songs halfway through that tour. They already had beat the 2019 European tour as far as unique songs played. They close out Europe with a full last stop, setting a tone after getting reps in Europe where they don't have to worry about fans stalking them as much. So you can't expect the band to come out as hard. Now, last year, the band they were exhausted on that first leg of the US tour. They were exhausted, but they were in shape. And many of you guys who are athletes, you can be in the best shape. Your stamina, your speed, your ability to play through all 3 periods of hockey or all 4 quarters of basketball. When you're at your best, sometimes you're susceptible to injury because you've been playing so much. So the more games and reps you play, you're a little sore, but you're in better shape because you've been playing almost every day. Last year, that's exactly what we got. The band was sore, but they were in shape. This year, they have more rest. They have much more rest. They're not coming off of a European tour, but they still have to get themselves in shape. And what can happen, just like in sports, you'll see a team that's coming off back-to-back games in basketball or hockey, right? In the first 2 periods, because they just played the night before and they had to fly 2 hours to wherever they are now. The first half of the game, they may be a little flat. Or sometimes they go too hard at the beginning and they wind themselves out at the end. Either way, the team who played the night before has a strong first half or a strong second half or a strong first half of the hockey game or second half. But the team that's rested, they may come out a little bit sluggish, but they're not going to fatigue as much. They don't have their systems working as well because they didn't play the night before. They're rested. And you see this in the NBA and NHL playoffs. Teams that are rested may come off a little sloppy, but eventually they're going to get their swing. So my thing is this. This band is playing good shows. They may not be the shows you were expecting. You were expecting shows like last year. They played West Palm Beach in the first weekend of the tour. That's a 2-night stand. That's an audience that's going to expect certain things, and the band fulfills those wishes. But people expecting this band to play out Bethel, New York, a festival show in Boston Calling, and a Tuesday night in Syracuse. No disrespect to Syracuse. Actually, the only way I want to disrespect you is your basketball team. Men's basketball team is trash. Go Huskies. That's the only thing I want to disrespect Syracuse with, because UConn basketball is better. But outside of that, this is a Tuesday in Syracuse, and the band has not had a lot of reps playing together. And the majority of the shows they've played so far in 2025 as a full band have been festival shows. Jazz Fest, Love and Life, and Boston Calling. They've played 2 regular shows and they've been sandwiched around festivals. Let's see where this band is for the deep cut lovers only. If you love this set, there's no shade. If the band's listening, there's no shade. I don't know if they are. I'm talking to people that love deep cuts, that want the liberations early, that want this special pizzazz early. I'm telling you, the way this tour is set up, the first 2-night stand is in Brazil. So you're going to have this band building up to stuff. And the complaints about the covers, we'll get to that as well after our guests. But there was only 2 covers tonight. Even if you dislike those are 2 songs. Yes, they could all be DMB. And again, we'll talk about that in a moment. When I want to hear from people who were there. So let me just set this up to get my friends on who are driving back from Syracuse. And let's go ahead. We're going to bring on Darren and Leah.
Hey, Marcus. Can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you. You are live on the DMB post show stream.
Thank you for having us.
What did you think about this show tonight?
For a Tuesday in Syracuse, we really didn't expect a lot of deep cuts or, a lot of things that people are expecting for the third show of the tour. We just wanted a lot of good energy. We wanted to just be up out of our seats. And I feel like, they started off really good with Warehouse. Actually, they were going to start, from what Jeff Coffin posted on his social media, it looked like they were going to start with Old Dirt Hill. And they swapped that. Warehouse was going to be E2. So I like that they opened with it. And it just kicked off the night with some good energy.
Interesting. I didn't get to take a look at that. So they were going to have that Old Dirt Hill you said the second spot?
No, it was going to open.
Oh,
they were going to open Old
Okay.
Dirt Hill. And then Warehouse was supposed to be E2. And
Interesting.
it looks like they flip-flopped them. So I'm glad that they did, because it actually started off really high energy. Because they didn't really take a break until Spaceman. I felt like we were up.
So they play Warehouse, P&P, into Lion Art Graves. Then they stop. No reprise at all.
It looked like Fonz had a problem.
With his bass.
Oh, okay.
Because it looked like they were about to do it, and then Fonz's equipment guy came out and had to swap it out. By the time Fonz got dialed in, they just called it.
It was over.
Okay, so that's why. Because I'm looking at Couch Tour and they stopped, so I'm like, oh, they're not gonna do it. And after that, they go into Rapunzel. What was that like to get that kind of stop into Rapunzel, P&P Graves Rapunzel sandwich there?
I mean, we heard a lot of that, P&P into something else other than Rapunzel last year. So I guess it wasn't that big of a surprise, but last year, if that happened, Rapunzel was way later in the set. So the fact that it came back to back, that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And online, we were all saying, hey, maybe they'll finish Lion Art Graves after Rapunzel. That did not happen. And then you get we get the Spaceman Billy's Walk Around the Moon. But I want to know for you guys, we had two covers. They're very controversial, that they're for some, the hardcore fans are we don't want covers. What was the fan reaction first to Word Up? What was it like there when that hit?
It was high energy.
Yeah, it popped.
Everybody was going nuts. Everybody was out of their seats.
And then Sledgehammer, after Jimmy thing, we get a little bit of people that I thought it was going to be Thank You or Brick House. They go Jimmy thing right into Sledgehammer.
Yeah, that was a bit different, but we haven't heard Sledge in a while. I feel like they kind of backed off that last summer. They were doing more Let's Dance, Fool in the Rain. So It was actually I really welcomed it, because I haven't heard Sledge in a bit at a show.
And so you're saying the
normally
fans...
at that time we're probably getting Madman's Eyes or something like that, which we didn't get a lot of Walk Around the Moon, which was interesting.
Yeah, they're cutting it. They've been cutting it from festivals going back to the end of last year, post Gorge, and even this year, the festivals have had maybe at most 2 Walk Around the Moon. No Come Tomorrow still for this tour, I believe. So it's the bands every night we're looking. Under the Table and Dreaming and Crash are pretty much leading as the most played albums. So this band is really pushing into the nostalgia first 2 major releases. So Remember Two Things comes out. It has buzz, but Under the Table and Dreaming was the first major label release that was kind of everywhere that people were looking for. So, but just to make sure, so Sledgehammer and Word Up, these were the crowd themselves. These were big crowd moments.
Yes.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think again for a Tuesday in Syracuse, it wasn't just hardcore fans. It was the donors, the corporate sponsors, all those luxury boxes. They were filled up, so they were definitely playing to that kind of audience. So yeah, and then kind of going to your intro using the sports analogy. I was worried about this show because it was the first show of the season for Syracuse, and I was like, well, if Bethel had that problem where they couldn't get through the gate, parking lot issues, things like that, is that going to be the same thing that happened in Syracuse? So I mean, luckily it wasn't. From what we saw, they did have a gate opening of 6 o'clock listed, but it ended up being 6:05. But I think it also talks to the point that everybody's warming up. It's not just the band; it's also the venues and the staff at the venues that are gearing up for the season.
And I believe this was a venue that the first show that DMB did here, there were some issues where people were parking at a different lot in the shuttles, and I think it was like there was rain or flooding. Do you remember that?
Their last show was in 2021. I know that there was quite a bit of rain that night. We weren't at that show, but
yeah. So that venue is paired with the State Fair location, and so they share big, massive parking lots. So if one goes down, or if they're doing repairs to one, they'll use the adjacent lots from the other venue.
Okay, sounds like Tampa. Tampa has the State Fair grounds right next to the amphitheater, and same type of issue. I remember that first Lakeview show. They said that they were shuttling people, but for us in Tampa last year when I went, there was a graduation with the same parking lot. So it's interesting kind of how they pair it with the State Fair. But I know that first show, I remember people talking about it, and if anyone's in the chat, let me know. That first show there was like issues with the shuttle and people getting to the show on time. So that's great to hear that you guys didn't have issues getting into the gates. And it looks like Dan K is saying in 2018 there were issues. Oh, 2014 was the first time. Okay. But I guess 2018 may have been that time there were issues. What did you think of the new the stage lighting and the design of the backdrop behind the boys?
So we brought our kiddos to this show, and I remember just looking at my son saying, like, this is a pretty cool light set. I know, you're usually there for the band, but there was something about this, semicircle patterns that they were using and how they were kind of playing off the music that really caught my eye for the first time. Normally, I don't really pay attention to the lighting, but tonight I definitely made a couple comments to my son about it.
Yeah, we got video in from Bethel with the Lion Our Graves lighting really kind of matching Tim's solo. So I'm looking forward to seeing that when I get over to SPAC and Guilford. Let's talk about this encore. What did you guys think that, again, with the shuffling of Old Dirt Hill, you have Peace on Earth, or whatever they're going to call it. You have Old Dirt Hill, and then you have a Shake Me closer, which is, again, for the diehards, is very controversial.
I like Shake Me, so I was very happy to hear that. It felt weird though we thought Old Dirt Hill, we thought that was it, so we were surprised that they did something after that.
An E3, which if last year was the summer of PMP into something, what if this year it's the E3 year? I mean, I know it's early, but I mean,
I thought they were going to close with Watchtower or something like that. So I was actually kind of surprised that they did Shake Me.
Yeah, and the one thing to point out, they played 17 songs in the main set, if you take out those segues. And so usually you get about 18 in the main set. And so they seem to end earlier with just 17 songs, end on Granny, which I'm glad that song finally showed up. And then you have 18, 19, 20 in the encore. So I wonder if maybe that was with the shuffling of songs, they decided to just, maybe they were like, wait, we moved Old Dirt Hill. Granny's a good song to close, but we'll bring it into the encore, and Shake Me's a very quick song. So really, you play a full crush, it's longer than this whole encore. Peace on Earth, Old Dirt Hill, right. Shake Me. So maybe that was kind of the thinking, is that we'll give you 3 extra in the encore and then on Granny. But yeah, definitely we'll see. I mean, I think it would be, I think a lot of the fans, and again, I'm talking about, you know, the majority, like you said, there's a lot of fans who just will love a show like this. But the people who really are looking for like better show flow and more rarer stuff, some people are saying this is the worst encore ever. Do you feel like this is the worst encore ever or do you feel like
it felt weird, but I wouldn't say the worst encore ever.
Yeah, not the worst ever, but definitely getting used to it. But again, if the band is working some kinks out, then okay.
Yeah, we didn't have very high expectations. I feel like I'm interested to see what they do at Cuyahoga, because it's first Friday night concert series.
Yeah.
Sirius XM, they usually do like amazing shows at Blossoms. So I have some expectations there. We'll see.
Are you guys going to that show?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. We'll have to check in with you, even if you just send us a clip.
Yeah.
But I think that's the biggest thing, is that it's the first Friday. It's a venue that has more history with the band. Syracuse this specific venue is so new, and it doesn't get a slot every year. And Bethel, again,
they
same
haven't
thing.
played in 4 years in Syracuse. So.
Yeah, and Bethel, same thing. It's not a regular, in this current era, it's not a regular stop on the tour. And then you get Boston Calling, which replaces Mansfield. So it's different when you start a tour in New England, and you start in Hartford in 2010, or even if they would have started in let's say they opened the tour in Mansfield, I think you're gonna get a different vibe if they start in one of those staple venues. Even the Blossom, if they open in Blossom, it's gonna be different than when you have a hodgepodge of festivals and other things. Any other observations you guys had?
I mean, the poster, I'm not sure if you talked about the poster yet, but that was really interesting. From one Darren to another Darren, I thought that was a really good poster. It was good to see, like you've always talked about, giving other people shots, not just Methane, even though Methane kind of got us here.
Yeah, I don't think he's done a Dave poster. I was looking through some of his stuff. Looks like he does a little bit of like Fish and other artists, but yeah. I think maybe his first shot with Dave. I thought he did great. I like the fire dancer and the kind of the water. Some people didn't like it because it didn't have the dome.
Didn't have the Syracuse dome. But I mean, he made sense. I mean, pretty much every big city in upstate New York has history to the Erie Canal, so they definitely paid homage there. The color scheme I thought was okay. I know people were looking for the orange, just like the last show. It was like a female and her crown was orange or something like that. I know they were looking for that, but it sold well.
The foil looked nice.
Yeah, the foil sold fast. From my understanding of talking to someone, it sold within 5 minutes of gates opening. And then our other observation about posters was that the Summer Kiwak also has a foil.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that has a run of like, I think 1,200, and that looked really nice. The foil variant for the summer tour poster. Although it's different because it doesn't have the shows on it. So I don't know how I feel about it. There's like no shows, no dates like the normal posters do. So
it's just
very different.
It's just the animal there on there. And so yeah, that's actually that. I think that'll be the foil for the tour poster will be a hot item, as I'm sure they'll spread them out. Those foils will be split out amongst all of the tour stops. Get a variant or two there.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, if you're not from this part of the country, the Erie Canal, just like Syracuse basketball, years and years ago, there was a lot of relevance and popularity with it in the early decades of our country as far as transportation of goods. And eventually, just like Syracuse basketball, there were other means to get things through railroads and other travel, where the Erie Canal then became more of a nature thing. Am I right on that? They have the canal trail, and it doesn't have as much like power in the economy, but it's been used now for people to travel along it and enjoy it.
All right, I think we're back.
Yeah.
Can you hear us, Marcus?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Did you hear what I
We lost you
said?
for a
Because
minute.
you guys are from
No.
you're in New York. I was saying the Erie Canal, just like Syracuse basketball, in the early decades of our country, even through the early 1900s, it was a huge economic transportation hub. But then as other means of transportation and shipping came about, it now is more of like a nature thing. You can it's more of there's trails along
Right.
it. And so that's why I was telling people, if you're not from this part of the country, you may not understand the significance of it. But I think at the end of the day, I would rather have more posters like this where the artist focuses on local things and does history, versus the methane random mix and match of things they've already done, where they're like flipping a coin. Okay, we're gonna do a bird in these colors behind the forest. And so I think you can have posters like Methane has posters that are just, they're not even told the date it's going to be for. Just make a generic piece of art. Even that, I'd rather have someone else who's just going to make a piece of art they don't know what show it's going to be for, that has more innovation or a fresh idea than Methane. So I'm glad that, this Darren Shock put effort into this poster, brought the history of this region to the poster, versus just having another generic Methane poster that is just
Right.
doesn't do anything for me.
Agreed.
All right. And thank you guys for being on. I'm going to let you guys go. I know you had the kids today, so I appreciate you taking time to come on. Safe travels, and I'll keep in contact. We'll try to get you in one way or another for Friday at Blossom.
Sounds good. Thank you, Marcus.
Bye, Marcus.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
All right. So, yeah, I want to thank our guests there for Darren and Leah, because it's hard getting people on a Tuesday. People have work tomorrow, and some people, their phones were lower, and they have other plans post show. So I appreciate Darren and Leah coming on. But yeah, what I want to do, so this part here, the discussion I'm having now is specifically for the fans who, your main reason for adding shows or not going to shows are some of the rarities, some of the fresh ideas, some of the spur of the moment, random, like a Des Moines, Iowa show, which we'll talk about because we're going to talk about 2019. If you loved this set tonight, just ignore this, because I want to speak in the language of fans who are freaking out about this set, thinking it's doom and gloom for the rest of the summer tour. And as we just heard from Darren and Leah, this crowd was corporate. It was casual. The majority of the people going to this show tonight were not looking for Spoon and Break For It and Kill the King. They want the hits. This band is well aware of what songs to play for what audience. You may have, yes, we've had a Shake Me Closer at SPAC, which had me like shaking my head. But even so, they really do a great job of playing to the audience that's in front of them. So I will defend the band in the sense they are very attentive to how the crowd reacts at any given show. But they're playing to please the audience, and every now and they'll still throw in some deep cuts for the diehard fans. But you gotta understand, again, I'm speaking to people who are chased like me. I maximize my shows to get the best special moments, rarities within my feasible ability to go to them, because I'm not dropping a bunch of money for the Gorge. I got my son right here. I got to take care of my son in daycare, and I'm trying to get a bigger spot for my family. I can't go to the Gorge this year, but I'm going to SPAC and I'm going to Guilford. Why? Because these are tour stops that are going to give me the best of what I want. But nonetheless, if you go to a Pine Knob or you go to a Blossom, a one nighter, I think you're going to get a set that's different than the last couple of shows. But don't panic. I want to take you guys back to 2019. We're going to go back to 2019. This is Pensacola, Florida. My boy John Dix was at this show. This was earlier. This was April 30th, 2019. They play Pensacola. It's an odd way to start a tour because Pensacola, they never played this venue ever. Now, this first show brought hope. You had a Funky Raven. You had Boa in the encore, but guess what? They closed out the show with Shake Me. You had Stand Up, right? You had Samurai Cop and Sledgehammer, right? You had 4 Come Tomorrow songs, like people not wanted to hear all these Come Tomorrow songs, right? She Every Day, buh. Actually, after Dancing Nancy, Stay, the space between She Every Day. That's, if you like deep cuts, that's like snooze fest. So people in 2019 were like, yeah, we're getting a couple of dope songs in Raven, Boa, and what else is in here? That's really it. Raven, Boa. I mean, Gray Street's cool, but it didn't have the third verse yet. Again, One Sweet World without the intro. Let's go to the next show, May 1st. It's going to be May. And guess what? Another Kate Middleton show. That Girl Is You opener. Again, I'm talking from a fan like me and you guys at home who may love deep cuts. That Girl Is You. Now you have Billy's, but then you have Do You Remember? Don't Drink the Water, Lion Hands of God. I mean, this is, there's nothing that really stands out. Now they did play Cortez with Susan, right? Susan Tedeschi. Shout out to Derek and Susan. But even Cortez, you can argue for some fans don't like Cortez because it just stretches out. Right? Bayou, You and Me. Like, look at all these. They played Bayou 27 times in 2019. Right? Now, the encore is pretty cool. You get a granny at the E1. But this show, again, people still were looking for more. All right, let's keep going. Now we're going to get to a similarity of this current tour. We had a weekend where you had back-to-back festival shows in the midst of the early stages of a summer tour. And so they play this festival, Beale Street Music Fest. They play 15 songs, but She and Cornbread and Every Day and Sledgehammer and Stand Up and You and Me. I would put Boston Calling well above this, to me, a set that is not for someone like me who loves deep cuts. I mean, there's other festival sets where they stick to more of the Crash and Under the Table, and they don't have Come Tomorrow songs there. But this was a year out from the Come Tomorrow 2018 release. Like, you could play more generic sets without Stand Up, right? And Bayou. And some of the other stuff that was played this weekend, because you'll see Bayou at the next show. So this was a set that people were like, nah, now it was a festival. So people were like, it's a festival, but nah, that's not it. Right. We go to May 4th. They play Jazz Fest. This to me was the worst ever Jazz Fest set ever. You got the, what would you say, Bridge Too Much, Warehouse. Then you play Bayou, That Girl Is You, and Stand Up, the holy trinity of Go to the Bathroom if you love deep cuts like me. Again, if you like these songs, that's fine. I'm talking to people who are freaking out about what happened for the first couple shows of this 2025 tour. Shake Me Like a Monkey, Jimmy Thing, Answer. Like this set again continued. Now again, people are like, well, these are festival shows, but it kept getting worse. We go to Pelham, Alabama. All right. So we get Crush Out, right? But still, this show does not have anything crazy. It's a bunch of generic, songs. You have a Seek Up there, right? And that's probably the highlight of the night. But there's nothing else. Where's the Stone, right? Where's Typical Situation, right? Where's Say Goodbye at least, or Drive In, Drive Out? None of that is showing up. There's nothing that is being liberated in this early part of the tour. Just like this current tour, nothing's being liberated in the first couple shows. Now it keeps getting worse. This Nashville show had so much anticipation. People were hoping the band was going to have a guest or have some other like major, oh snap, they're in Nashville and they're doing something crazy. Guys, they opened this show with That Girl Is You. Okay? Again, if you're a casual fan or you love the hits or this type of stuff, I'm not talking to you. My friend John Dix this is probably the show that makes him the most angry. This was not an easy ticket to get. People invested a lot to try to get the best seats possible. That Girl Is You, Too Much, Funny the Way It Is, Do You Remember, right? There's nothing that outside of Nancy's Warehouse. What else? What else is there that's fire? Right? I like Lying in the Hands of God, but that's like, there's nothing crazy. Bayou comes in there. The Space Between, Can't Stop, Cornbread, You and Me. What a nightmare run for someone who actually likes good song. I mean, who has a certain taste for special deep cuts. Sorry. Let me be politically correct here. And then you have Some Devil, but then they close with Ants Marching. There's nothing. This was a Nashville show that had a lot of buzz and they played it like a festival. This looks like the other festivals they earlier in this tour. I will take the Boston Calling set over this set. Again, just giving you guys perspective here. Then this show, which starts off with the Bayou, this show changed the fate of just the tour. Now, this is not an all-time best tour of all time. But after this Bayou, which people were rolling, this was on Sirius XM, right? This was they released this later in the summer, though. After that Bayou, you get a Fish Tender tour debut. Look at this. Big Eye Fish and the Bartender. None of these songs have been played yet. So Right hadn't been played all tour. And they do them all three in a row. Do You Remember It, man? But then you have So Much Bridge, Too Much, Samurai Cop, yeah, Crush. All right, Crush is getting things going. You know, some people don't like her, but it's getting things going. Then you have The Stone. And then it's like, this is Des Moines, Iowa on May 14th. What was this? I can't remember. This was a midweek show. And they're playing The Stone as a tour debut. Crash Into Me, which was very rare at this time, this era, this 2019. They played it 8 times compared to like other tours way back in the day. Was played much more. Then you have Kill the Preacher, Why I Am, then recently pops up. Funny the Way It Is a little bathroom break for people, and then they go right to Typical Situation. Now you get a You and Me Every Day. You know, they kind of fell off at the end. You know, You and Meh, every Meh. And then you get P&P and the Rapunzel. All right. Now the encore, Sister. I don't have a sister, so I don't really care. But this was Sister in the Watchtower. You know, you could, depending on the type of deep cut lover, you may like that Watchtower closer, encore closer. But this show kind of set things forward for that 2019 tour, to where, and then you got to the main stuff, and you got to the bigger venues, and you got things. But again, we are here. We're at Syracuse. We started off with a Bethel show that didn't have many lows. There weren't many lows. They played Typical Situation. You never know. Yes, they had been played like in the previous 2 festivals. You have a Nancy's opener. Okay? and you have No Come Tomorrow. You have a lot of the older stuff. Yes, there were 3 covers, but the band is going to play. They were testing out some of these covers. Then we go to Boston Calling, and again, I will take this set list, this Tripping Billy's opener. This was actually tonight's Syracuse show, first show without When the World Ends in the 2 spot. Right? Tonight, there was no Madman's, right? There was no Madman's Eyes tonight. So there was no Madman's tonight. And so I can understand some of the looking at these and, okay, there were all these things repeated from Boston Calling from the night before. That happens. There could be 4 or 5 repeats from the previous night in a 2-night stand like this where you have a festival. But like there were, all of the songs were played in the last previous 2 full band shows. So everything from this set was either played in Charlotte or played in Bethel, and some were played in both. I understand the concern that Word Up has literally been played every show of this tour. But these are unusual circumstances for 2025 where they're playing a bunch of one-night stands and festivals to start off. Again, we get to Syracuse and we get some more, we get a little bit. But yeah, it is odd to have a Peace on Earth, Old Dirt Hill, Shake Me encore. But they kind of tried to switch some things up. Now, as far as the covers, I understand why people don't like Word Up. But we also don't know if this may be something that, again, first of all, the band likes it. Obviously, that's why they're doing it. But we don't know if this is, I can understand the argument that, hey, they played it all 3 nights of the tour. Maybe they should cut back on it, like not every night. But this may be a thing in the game plan to give Dave a vocal break. And I will take Word Up in a set if this gives Dave a vocal break and then he's ready to go for. Now, I think Sledgehammer ruins his voice and it's a waste of a song to ruin his voice. But, after the Jimmy, they do Sledge. But if they need to have Buddy do It's Your Thing, if they need to have Rashawn do a Word Up, it's better than Brick House. We've already been Brick Housed out. We've already seen it. It's like we don't need to see it anymore. So now he has Word Up. I understand why people don't like it, but at the same time, they played 2 covers tonight. Yes, ideally in a perfect world, the band would play no covers. And as if I had my way. If I had my way, I'd tear these covers out. That was a Samson and Delilah interpolation there. Shout out to the Grateful Dead overcharging people for that show coming up, the 60th anniversary, I think it is. You've got to pay like $6,000 for VIP. Anyway, I want those are direct shots. Yeah, no, thank you on that. Outrageous prices for the Dead and Slow. And shout out to John Mayer. I love John, and I love the Dead men, but shout out to O'Teal. Crazy expensive to go stand in a field. Golden Gate Park, which DMB has done. They performed there at the festival they had in 2004. Big waste of time. Anyway, back to our scheduled program. We're going back to this. So, again, if you don't want to be disappointed and you love deep cuts, don't go to Syracuse in May for this show. Don't go to Bethel to open the tour where, again, it's going to be, don't go to Boston Calling. Go to SPAC, go to Deer Creek, go to the Gorge. So we have Blossom on Friday, right? That should continue the momentum forward. After that, we have Merriweather. Now, Merriweather, you got to be careful with Merriweather because last time they played it, they did not play it. They did not play it with a bunch of deep cuts. They played it as a commercial mainstream hit venue, but that's how my high school hockey coach was there with some friends that live in I think they live in the DMV. And so they were visiting them and they went to the show. So that crowd may have been more casual fan because they don't come every year. And that's the other thing too. There's a lot of hardcore DMB fans in the DMV area, right? And if you don't know what it is, DC, Maryland, Virginia. But when they play Merriweather, which isn't a regular stop, you're going to get a lot of casual fans. And so when you go to Merriweather, when you go to Syracuse on a Tuesday, when you go to Bethel, I talked to people about Bethel, and from what I heard, people were talking to people around them. A lot of the people in Bethel in the crowd, that was their only show of the year. They lived locally in that part of New York State, and they were only going to that show. So how do you think they're going to play it? They're going to play it. All right, we're going to ease into certain things. We'll still have, you never know. We'll still have typical, but we're going to play some hits. Again, this band knows, I don't know if they're pulling data, whatever. They know how to play to the audience. You just have to find the right audience. And if you can't afford it, or you have stuff, listen, I got my baby boy here. I'm sure some of y'all with 3 kids, you may not be able to swing some of these 2-night stands. Then don't go. It may be rough, but don't set yourself up for disappointment. And I think don't expect this band to come out the gates without a European tour, without any sort of practice, and just all of a sudden do crazy stuff. They're not getting any younger, and they also have this little build up to late June and July. July is always phenomenal, and then of course in August you get some special things out west. But July is the best month to see this band. I just don't know why. And again, I advocate for stuff. I talk about how I don't like this band doing covers. I get it. But if we're realistic, they have a rhyme and reason, pun intended, to how they build up to July of 2020, whatever. 23, 24, 25, and so on. You're not getting a Dreaming Tree in Syracuse on a Tuesday in late May, right? It's not happening. It may happen once, but it's not happening more than once. The Syracuse men's basketball team has a better chance of having a winning record than you getting a crazy liberation or bust out on a Tuesday like this. So we go to Merriweather, and then the tour will pick up. You go to Homedale, and then you have the first 2-night stand, right? So Sao Paulo for 2 nights, 7 and 8. And then you get to the other side of this. Jones Beach still, they're going to have to build their way back coming back from Brazil. But they're going to continue to have practice and have the chemistry built back up. Then you get Riverbend. That'll be a Friday night concert series. Then you get Maryland Heights, and that's outside of St. Louis. Then you get Charleston. This is the date to keep in mind. This Charleston show on June 20th and the one on June 21st, that's when they're going to have their first U.S. 2-night stand. So if you're going to shows before this June 20th date, you could get some shockers, but don't be shocked if you don't. This is going to be the first weekend where we have a 2-night stand and things are going to be on and popping. All sorts of things are up in the air to be played. But they're still got to build momentum, right? You do 620, 621. Then they're going to go to Birmingham. This will probably be a bunch of casual songs. They may have a deep cut here or there, but Birmingham doesn't get a show. Alabama will have shows, almost every other tour at times. Pelham or the one that was, there's Pelham and there's the other one there. But anyway, Birmingham's not getting shows every year. Then they go to Alpharetta. Alpharetta may be a standout show because it's Georgia, but it's also the day after this, and depending on how hot it is, things like that. But then you'll start to see momentum pick up, and then you get to Chicago, and as bad as this venue is, it's a 2-night stand in the Midwest, the first 2-night stand in the Midwest. Now you're talking about, if they're playing clunkers here, if they're playing Word Up in Sledgehammer and Word Up, Sledgehammer, and It's Your Thing all in the same show for night 1 of Northerly Island, then we can say, yo, what's going on? This isn't, this is not what they typically do for a 2-night stand. But you get your 2-night stand there. Then they take a little bit of a break, and they're going to go to Toronto real quick. They're going to go to Clarkston, and then they're going to go Deer Creek 11 and 12. And this Clarkston show and just outside of Detroit, they could test something that they're going to do in Deer Creek, right? The Toronto show, I don't know how they're going to play it. They could play more of the hits. But this Clarkston show, they could really come out and just try one song that they're going to really then nail at Deer Creek. But then once you get to Deer Creek, that's the sweet spot of this tour. Sometimes this sweet spot is 4th of July weekend like SPAC. And even before SPAC, they were doing great things last year. But you got to understand, we had a great year last year where they went to Europe to shake off the rust. Then they kept that momentum, and we had full last stops here and there and everywhere. Everyone gets a full last stop. Fool to Think was being thrown around in parts of New England that I kept missing it, and I got 3 Fool to Thinks last year, I think it was. But they started in Europe. So everyone, breathe, relax. This band plays to audiences. If you don't like it, don't show up. But again, you guys have every right. If we get to Deer Creek, if we get to even Charleston, and they're really just kind of having these generic sets, then there's concern. Then it's, hey, do I need to? Because I get this. I'll close with this. Going to these shows is more expensive than ever. The hotels for SPAC this year seem to be even crazier than they've been in the previous couple of years. And those are 4th of July weekend and all that. Maybe because I booked earlier last year. But the prices right now, just looking around, like, it's crazy. The prices for SPAC. The cost of the tickets has gone up. The lawn was like $70 today. Like if you bought, and they have a day of lawn price for the lawn in Lakeview. You have places like Columbia, Maryland. Merriweather is yet again effectively sold out. And I'm pretty sure Merriweather's not going to get a world beater set. It's going to be a lot of the hits and some of the meh songs, like You and Meh, Every Meh, which is every day, because that crowd is going to be more casuals. So if you live in Maryland and that's the only show near you, it's a tough ticket to get. Even today's show was the lawn. Again, the lawn's $70 for a Tuesday. And so compared to previous years, it's more expensive, but you have to strategically, if you know that you only like certain parts of this band's runs of tours where they play more of the deep cuts, they don't have as many of this trial and error as they're having now. It's better to miss it and not go than to invest all this money and expect unrealistic things. Be realistic, and if it's just too much, just don't go. You may regret some after, but it's gonna be more regretful if you pay for something and you don't get what you're hoping for. And again, all of this is for people who love the deep cuts. I'm just stressing that again. The majority of people at any DMB show are happy. But my show is to give a voice to people who say, listen, I don't want Dave to play the phone book. I want him to push himself and do what he did at SPAC Night 1 2023. Do what he did Live Track 69, Guilford Night 1 last year in 2024. That is my why. Those shows are my whys. June 7th, 2013 that was the best show before the SPAC Night 123 show I went to, where they play I'm seeing this band, they're behind a curtain, and Dave is playing number 34 on the 34th DMB show at Hartford, at that venue, the Meadows, on the 12-string guitar. He's playing number 34, and I'm like, I thought I had to, like, am I hearing this right? For many fans, these deep cuts don't matter. But for a certain percentage or contingency of this fan base, those moments matter. Hartford 2010 for some of you guys, right? You guys can name all of them. Put them in the comments. Put them in the comments of this video. What was that weekend you were like, this is a crazy run of songs, and I love what this band is doing this weekend. I would not be here if I did not go to that June 7, 2013 show. I would still be more of a casual fan. I probably wouldn't have gone to more than one show every year. But 6/7/13 changed my life. And 6/8/13 also was additionally a powerful show as well. It's why I'm sitting here today talking about this DMB poster. It's why I'm making multi-cams. With the lack of, there's lesser of people doing it, from Copperpot to other people who used to put together more stuff, and now for whatever reasons, they're just not putting out as much content, which is their right. And listen, they've served this, some of these people have served this community for so long and taken so much time away from their family, right, and in their own life and own hobbies to give us some great videos, right? I would not be doing this if I didn't go to that June 7th show, 6/7/13. I'd be a more casual fan. I'd be sat back more. But when I saw that show, I was like, yo, I gotta go. So there we go. There's my long rant or kind of breakdown of what's going on. But I think it's important to really think this through, have perspective, and let's not panic and overreact. The third show of this tour. And still, if this is one of the lowest of the lows of this tour, that's a great thing. Because this show tonight was not like dreadfully below expectations of what I thought it would be. I really don't think it was that bad. I think people are expecting a unrealistic set. Yes, we want the band to push themselves, but they have their own ways of doing things. And they have to, in order to get the stuff that we call the best shows of the year, arguably, right, as deep cut lovers, right, not as casuals, because they'll put out like a trash show. Like, it's the best show ever. Like, no, that show was Kate Middleton. All right, it was mid. All right, but anyway, there we go. I'll stop talking. All right, that's it for today. I got to get to bed. If you guys want to come on for, the guests, as you heard today, are so important. If you want to be a guest, message me, hit me up, let me know, because I really want to get this instant reaction from fans who were there. That's why that's more important than even what I think about Bayou. Who cares what I think? What's going on tonight? We heard from Darren and Leah. I appreciate them. Oh, let me just play. I'll close out with this because I did just get some audio in. Let me see if I can play this.
Marcus.
All right, I'm gonna play this. This is my boy D-Rock. He is Buffalo, I believe, born and raised. He gave me some audio notes that I'm gonna play on here, and he went to the show tonight.
It's good to be with you again. I thought that was a great show. The set was very, very hitty, like Warehouse, Rapunzel, Phillies, Crash, so much. I mean, Don't Drink, Granny Clothes, or Nancy's. Everything that hits, I mean, you can't beat that either way. The encore, I don't mind his new song. I like the message, but the encore is a head scratcher. Thought for sure after Old Dirt Hill, we would get some ants, anything but Shaped Like a Monkey, so bummer in the encore, but I don't mind the two covers, a lot of hits, and again, it's another night where, my cousin and I were there. He got me into the band about 25 years ago, so I have no complaints. Band sounded good, great weather, no scarves, no wind, no nothing, so I got no complaints. Thanks for having me on. Marcus, I didn't get this in, but this is my 38th show at 38 years old, so I'm at the point where it's not PG, but you know what? Dave plays what he fucking wants, and I'm cool with that. And I love just seeing the band. Everyone looked happy. I was 5 rows back behind the pit, and I got no complaints. It was great. I love this band, and I love to see him, and I'll see him as long as I can.
Oh, sorry. I turned my mic off. Yeah, I muted myself for the play. But anyway, those are 3 perspectives from people who live in New York, who go to shows in upstate New York and other parts of the country. And they all said, hey, this was a good show. And all those people, by the way, these aren't like the people who came on. By the way, if you think Dave could sing the phone book and you love it, I want to hear your perspective on this show too. But I know D-Rock, Leah, and Darren, who all you've heard their voices today. They play The Stone, they play Dreaming Tree, they play, if they were to play People, they're fans who would go nuts. But they're also fans who are realistic with what they're going to expect from a Tuesday Syracuse show. And so there you have it. It's your boy ConcertViz 34. Let me see. I'm just going to close this out. And I will see you guys on Friday. If you want to come on the show, please message me. Hit me up. X, Facebook, Threads, Instagram. Really, Instagram and X and Facebook are the best ones. But I'm on Threads, Blue Sky as well. All right. Peace.
I found a stranger walking in the woods. She was not quite like anyone I knew. Red dress, polka dot, shadows in her hair. She said, you take me and I take you there. Now she's going round and round inside of my head. I think I'm just a little too close to the edge. You took everything from me, and now I'm falling into this never-ending sea. I know you got your best to give to me. You know you hold me up. I know it seems that I have crossed into a dream since I've been flying, so fly. Big stack, jump back, crumble into here, boy. Good boy, won't stay as high as your eyes. It's twisted, my love to fly, but I wanted for you to give a little bit of everything. I know you got your best to give to me. You know you hold me up. I know it seems that I have crossed into a dream since I've been flying, so fly. It's blue and it's red, found a new door to open my